Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for checking out this video here on Shows Style and Spirit. I am Ebony, and as you can see from the title of this video, I want to give my commentary on People magazine exclusively reporting earlier today that Monique Samuels will be returning to the Real Housewives of Potomac. I am happy to see her back. I've been following Monique Samuels on social media for quite a while, and I have to say that there's never a dull moment. And while I'm happy to see her back on RHOP, I am surprised. Now, before we get into it all, I ask that you please hit the like button on this video and please subscribe to the channel. And everything that I'm saying in this video is alleged and just my opinion. Okay, so I was actually getting ready to start my day and leave the house at the same time I was moderating for Scotty by Nature when he went live on his YouTube channel, and he attributed his information to People magazine for reporting that Monique Samuels would be returning to the Real Housewives of Potomac. And the blogger All True Tea over on Instagram, she actually posted video of Monique Samuels filming at a GNA event. That stands for Giselle and Ashley. You know, they have athletic wear that they sell together. They're in business. So they were having a GNA event. It was outside. And you really have to look for Monique because who you see clearly is Giselle, Jazzy, and Stacy. And I had to play it a couple times when I was either like waiting to get new tires or I was waiting to go inside the movie theater. It was so beautiful outside. I just kind of kicked it outdoors for a while. But I had to keep watching it a few times because you don't really see Monique, but you see her. So she is definitely filming for season 10 of The Real Housewives of Potomac. I have a feeling that Bravo producers are elated and thankful that Monique agreed to return to the show. Bravo is really going through multiple storms. And between Karen Huger being sentenced to a year in jail and Mia Thornton quitting The Real Housewives of Potomac, they're probably like, oh my gosh, we have yet another show that we have to fix and we have to do surgery on. So Monique Samuels returning is really like a godsend for this show, for the producers, in my opinion. I'm sure they wanted her to be a full-on housewife. I would not be surprised if Monique said, no, I will come back as a friend. I will ease my way into it. The reason why I say that is because, again, I follow her on Instagram, and Monique Samuels is all about wellness. She posts a lot of affirming messages that deal with healing and you being gentle and patient with yourself. She also is pro solitude. She does in some ways inspire me the same as like Melody Cherie, just really with promoting solitude, healing on your own, not being afraid to start over and new beginnings. She is a part of the lock community. Now, Monique actually started her locks with lock extensions. So, like, she did get the starter locks for her natural hair, but she had lock extensions. Perhaps she didn't want to really experience the shrinkage that you go through your first 6 months of your journey. So, she had lock extensions. But by now, those extensions, I'm pretty sure she has those out because I'll Be Locked this October will be 4 years. So she's been locked at least 4 years as well, maybe 5. So I doubted that she still has those extensions, but this is her today. So we'll see if maybe in her confessional she'll talk about her lock journey. Maybe one of the women will ask her about it. I love how People magazine, before they get into all of the details, they'll give you like this need to know box, which is a few bullet points, some highlights. And it reads, Monique Samuels is returning to the Real Housewives of Potomac for season 10 in a supporting role. The move follows her 2023 divorce from husband Chris Samuels after 11 years of marriage. Season 10 is filming with Giselle Bryant, Ashley Darby, Dr. Wendy Osefo, Stacey Roush, and more. Now, I want to pause because they put in the second bullet point that Monique Samuels returning to the Real Housewives of Potomac is after her divorce from Chris Samuels. I find it to be so ironic that People magazine exclusively reported Monique's return to RHOP because if you remember, if you follow Monique Samuels on YouTube, she did a YouTube live denying a report that People magazine put out saying that her marriage was struggling, she was on the brink of divorce, and that her and Chris Samuels were living in separate properties. Remember when we were first introduced to Monique Samuels for season 2 of RHOP, she let us know that they own 4 homes, and a lot of us feel like Giselle Bryant never liked her since then. And reportedly, her and Chris Samuels were living in separate properties out of those 4 that they own. Well, Monique went live on her YouTube channel denying everything that was in People magazine's story. Only for about 2 years later, maybe, they filed for divorce and announced it. If it was even like 2 years, because it was right ahead of them filming for Love and Marriage DC season 2. And then Monique did not return to Love and Marriage DC for season 2. And it was just really strange because it was like People magazine reported this and we're like, oh my gosh, they're about to start filming Love and Marriage DC part season 2. Then she denied it. Then she announced that she would not be returning to Love and Marriage DC. And then, maybe like that next year or a couple years later, she was announcing that they were divorcing. So it was really wild. And then here is People magazine being the one to report that she is returning. So perhaps this is her way of trying to smooth things over with People magazine by giving them the exclusive, and there's nothing wrong with that. But so now getting into the details, they are saying that she will be returning as a friend. Production for RHOP is currently underway, and it mentions that the cast includes Giselle Bryant, Ashley Darby, Dr. Wendy Osefo, Kiarna Stewart, and Stacey Rush. And Samuels will be joining in a supporting capacity. And they report her as she was a fan favorite. Again, they're filming right now for season 10. The last time that Monique Samuels was on RHOP was for season 5. And that is when she and Candace had a physical altercation at like a winery. It actually reminded me of where I go in the fall for the cider mill for cider and donuts. But they were calling it a winery, but it looked like a barn that, was pretty much rehabbed and it gets turned into a cider mill here in Michigan. But I just thought the venue was beautiful. And that is where they fought, okay? And you could, because Bravo, the way they filmed the fight between Monique and Candace, it was an extreme wide shot. So you could see the huge wooden table. Candace and Monique were standing. Everyone was standing opposite of each other. And Monique was flicking Candace's hair, flicking it. And Candace was like, drag me, Monique. Drag me, Monique. And Candace, before I say what Candace does with her, I don't know if that was apple cider or I think they were having liquor. I think that might have been wine. It was a winery. It just looked like a cider mill. So they had wine. Before Candace does what she did with her wine, you see this light-skinned hand with like gold metallic nail polish do this to Monique Samuels. I know this. Shout out to Gabor. If you watch Andrew Gabor's YouTube channel, he slowed it down. And NBC, because you can't, anything NBC, Universal, Peacock, Bravo, you can't play the video. They got mad at him. I think they ended up removing that video, flagging it. They got mad that he played it and he slowed it down. He repurposed it so that we could see Giselle's hand. You see this hand the gold metallic polish. And she does this to Monique while Monique and Candace are verbally going at it. And then Candace takes her wine and splashes it on Monique. It's all on her face. And Monique grabs that wig and she's punching with the other hand. And it takes what seems like the jaws of life to get them to separate. And also, I don't think it was just the wine. I think Candace threw the whole glass at Monique because like her lip was busted. There was blood. And oh my gosh, so that was the season 5 fight. And Monique left, but not before she put a huge dent in the season 5 reunion with her binder. And she was in talks with a woman who allegedly was saying that, she was getting with Pastor Jamal Bryant. She even gave Monique a receipt, and that was his phone number. She said the phone number at the reunion. Bravo did beep it out. Giselle confirmed that that was his phone number. And that was a really dark reunion because when Chris Samuels came out, Giselle just it was like another energy came in and she was just spewing out, I don't even know. And she always disrespected Chris Samuels because she would call him Big Boy. And I would think to myself, you would love to be married to Big Boy because you would not have any financial difficulties. He always seemed like a pretty easygoing guy. He just wanted to have a family. Giselle, you would love that. But instead you marry the flamboyant, flashy, Jamal Bryant. But whatever, let me stay on task. So Monique was definitely a fan fave. I kind of felt like, well, of course, to have a physical altercation is so unnecessary. I cannot ignore the fact that Monique was provoked, in my opinion, by Candace. If, now Monique was flicking the hair. She was flicking the hair, but Candace was like, drag me, Monique, drag me, Monique. And then she threw her wine glass. Like, what more do you expect? But she left season 5. Andy Cohen did gaslight her at the reunion. And he was like, I've never heard him ask that question prior, and he hasn't asked it since. When he was asking Monique Samuels about her financial level and, the money that she gets paid to be on Real Housewives, she was like, oh, I don't care about this little check. It doesn't have a bearing on me. And I felt like he was trying to make her look like a butthole or just pretty much just teeing up her exit. And so I feel like it's amazing how the tables turn, because with Karen Huger being in jail and Mia Thornton quit, they needed Monique Samuels. I wonder, did Andy apologize to her? Because I remember when Monique used to say, she would go live on Instagram. She said, I am not, doing business ever again. And I'm paraphrasing, with NBC Universal. She talked about having reality TV PTSD. But, there is what's called healing. It's been quite a few years. So I think that it's amazing that she is returning to Bravo. I think that it is symbolic of reconciliation of a former business relationship, and it's inspiring. And so they're going to get like this Zen Monique Samuels. She recently quit her radio job. She was doing local radio in Maryland. She did it for a few years. She was emotional on her last day. And she just really said that, she was in a different place and she wanted to focus on her kids. Also, if you follow Monique on Instagram, she does a lot of traveling with her children. They are well traveled. They've been to Africa quite a few times, and they'll have lunch with like the animals all around them. It's amazing. It's a total vibe. And so if you have an Instagram account, definitely follow Monique Samuels. I think that you will enjoy it. Now, this picture, this is when she was on Potomac before. It's before she started her lock journey, when she was married. She's going to be a new woman. Now, I will say this, that Monique Samuels, this isn't the first time where she's saying, she's different now. She's in a different place. We're going to see the real Monique, because when she was promoting Love and Marriage DC season 1, that was one of the promos. Tune in to see the real Monique Samuels. And then she quit Love and Marriage DC, which is her choice. I get it. And then it was, tune in to me on my local radio station where you'll hear about the real Monique Samuels. And now she's returning to Potomac. And I will say we're going to learn a different side to her just from following her on Instagram. She's had major changes between her divorce from Chris Samuels, her lock journey, and being such a well-traveled person. It is going to be a different Monique Samuels. So what do you think about her return to the Real Housewives of Potomac? Are you happy about it? Are you shocked? I know that I definitely wanted to see Candace because I want to see her baby, but I'll just have to see pics that she'll post on Instagram. And, that'll be that. And then I'm going to support the Real Housewives of Potomac as much as I can. I know that the vibe will be off because Karen Huger won't be there, but it could still be a satisfying season. We'll have to see. I'm optimistic. But what do you think? Thank you all so much for checking out this video. Please hit the like button on this video and please subscribe to the channel. And I hope that you all have been having a great Saturday. My Saturday has been good. You know that it was thrown off for a few hours, but I powered through it. And yeah, so I'm back home safely. I'm thankful. I have gratitude that I made it home safely and I was able to get 2 new tires. I was still able to see the John Wick spinoff Ballerina, and it was great. Action-packed, amazingly choreographed action scenes, some action scenes that I would have not, with my all the creative bones in my body, would not have come up with some of that action scenery. So I was very impressed. Of course, John Wick enters the story and he has some fight scenes as well. It was really good. And the doors left wide open for there to be sequels. Do I think they should totally just discontinue John Wick for Ballerina? No, they can definitely continue with the John Wick films. A few of them are on, if it's not Hulu, it's Tubi. But I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, a few of them are on Tubi, and you all know that Tubi is free. So John Wick is this contract, Killer. And during some of the films, he breaks the rules. He turns on his employer. Then he's the one that everyone is out to get. One of the sequels included Halle Berry, and she was like a contract, Killer, a friend of John Wick's, and she had these amazingly trained dogs, like 3 or 4 of them, and it just provided amazing entertainment. So I like those films. I believe we'll see like crossovers between Ballerina and John Wick? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that we will. So it was great though. And then tomorrow is Sunday. It feels like, oh my gosh, the work week is upon us. I'm trying not to be anxious about it because I still have another day. So I'm gonna, get through my content tonight so that I can get to bed, get some rest, and just kind of start all over. So I will talk with you all soon. Bye.